Welcome to Mazévo Connect. If this is your first Mazévo Connect, we do these every month, and we're excited for this one here. We'll get to the topic here in just a moment. If you're back and you've been to other Mazévo Connects before, welcome back. We love to do these, and it's great to have everybody. So before we begin with our topic today, I just have a few announcements I wanted to make, and then we'll get right into it. Let me go ahead and, while I'm thinking of it here, I'm going to stop my sharing real quick. There we go. Um, yeah, so just a couple of announcements for everybody. Wanted to first welcome our newest Mazévo customer, Grand Canyon University. Now, you can probably tell by the name roughly where they're located if you haven't heard of them before, but they're out of Arizona, Phoenix to be specific there. And I'm not sure if we have anybody on from Grand Canyon, but if we do, welcome. Also wanted to mention that earlier this month we wrapped up our global admin training class. Wendy and Joe did that. It was a training class where we had folks who are Mazévo global administrators come, and it's just a free training that we do. It's our second time that we've done it. Went really well. The feedback was really positive that we had from that, and we will be doing it again, so don't fret if you missed it. But I also wanted to let you know too, and not everybody knows this, if you're a Mazévo customer and you ever need additional training on any subject, anything at all, we're here for you. Just reach out. You can schedule it. We don't charge you any additional. That is just part of what you get for being a Mazévo customer. So we just want to make sure you're getting the most out of the system. So don't be shy. Just email us or call us. Let us know if you need some additional training or you have some users that you're bringing on board, whatever it is. We can help you out there. So just let us know. Um, I do want to introduce our Mazévo team here today. We will be the ones conducting the webinar here for you all today. So we've got myself, and then we've got Wendy Newland and Joe Finley, who are our Mazévo trainers on here as well. We've got Claire DeGroat, who helps me out on the sales team. We've got Dean Evans, our CEO. And then the newest member of our Mazévo team is Angela Covington. Angela is coming to us out of Nashville. She was recently working for Vanderbilt University, where she was for about 17 years. So she brings a ton of higher education, events management experience. She ran the events office there for quite a while. And so we're super excited to have her. So she's here on the call with us as well. And yeah, so the topic for today, we'll go ahead and get into that, is on the Mazévo mobile app. So this is a webinar where we're dedicating to strictly the Mazévo mobile app today. We've done some webinars that touch on it a little bit in the past, but we've never done one that's fully dedicated to it. So we're going to show you today all the various things that you can do from your phone with Mazévo, and just hopefully give you some ideas on how to maybe better leverage that in your day-to-day operations there. Before we get into it, the way we conduct these webinars is we'll just jump into the content here in just a moment. We will save a few minutes at the end for some Q&A, so you can always hold your questions till then if you want to, although you don't have to. If during the webinar, if you have any questions at all, you're welcome to just put them into the Zoom chat. We will be monitoring that during the webinar. We can address them that way. But feel free, if you want to save them till the end, you can unmute yourself then and ask your question that way. Sometimes that's easier. But that's pretty much it. Pretty simple in that regard. So with that said, we'll go ahead and start things off here. So today, to get things started, I want to just kind of set the stage with our phone app and kind of what it's designed for and how it works and everything like that. Now, when we say a Mazévo phone app, it's not an app that you actually have to run out to the App Store on your phone and actually download. It's accessed through your phone's web browser. So you just open up whatever web browser you have on your phone, point it to mymazévo.com, and you log in, and there you go, you have it. But I did want to point out, we actually make it easy to kind of put a shortcut to the app on your phone's home screen so that it's easy to get to, because we know that all your other apps, right, you just click the thing on the icon on your phone's home screen and you get to it. So I just wanted to point out kind of how that works. So I'm just going to show you a couple of screen shares here just to point that out here. So let me just bring this one up and all right. Okay, so I've got a couple of screens shared here. So I wanted to just point out when you bring up the phone, now I've got an iPhone that's showing here on the screen. It works similar to Android, so it doesn't matter if you're on iPhone, Android. This is similar, but iPhone, it's slightly different. To get Mazévo to show up on your phone's home screen like this, I've got an example. So this was a screenshot from my iPhone here, and you can see it's like Mazévo has its own icon, and all I do to get to Mazévo is I just tap that and I go there. Now, if I don't have that icon installed, I'm going to use Safari, right? And do just what I said there, which is open up Safari and I go to mymazévo.com, log in. But having it as an icon, just now it feels like every other app out there. So to get it there on an iPhone, what you do if you switch back over to this view of an iPhone screen, it's this little sharing button down there. When you're on Mazévo on your phone, if you hit that, it'll say you'll see an option to put the icon on your phone's homepage. So you can do it that way. Android, it's actually slightly easier. Just there's a button that comes up that says install when you first go to it, and you can do it that way. So if you have any questions about that in the future or whatever, reach out to us. I also have some videos on it on our YouTube page as well to talk about that. So, all right. So in this case, I'm going to actually close this here if I can. There we go. Okay. You all are just seeing my phone screen up here now, right? The one screen.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Okay. So with that said, I'm actually going to stop sharing because I'm not going first here. We're going to first turn it over to Wendy, and Wendy is going to show you now what it looks like to use Mazévo on your phone as a requester here. So let me go ahead and stop sharing. Bring that up.
Okay, Brian, I'm going to have you tell me, can you see my phone?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and sorry, Wendy, to jump in, I
Sure.
wanted to make a little disclaimer as well.
Well,
The
we need to
way
have a
we're
transfer
mainly
over to
showing
somebody.
these to you today is we're using a simulator on our web browsers to show you what Mazévo looks like on your phone. Now, the simulator works pretty well, but it's slightly different than actually using it on your phone in the real world. So if we run into any little glitches or things like that, we experienced a few getting ready for it. That's what's going on there because it does work slightly differently. So I just wanted to point that out to everybody before we jump in. So sorry, Wendy, go ahead.
No problem. So as
Okay.
Brian mentioned, I am the requester, and I am going to just jump right in and make a request. Oh, I had been doing one, so I'm going to discard my old one. Sorry, folks. All right, we're going to call this HR training. Give it an event type. I'll book it to the athletics department. Put in the number of people. Book it to 2. And I'll do it on the 7th. Well, sometimes that disappears.
Set your AM PM there,
Oh,
Wendy.
here we go. Yeah, this is tricky on this little simulator. All right, I'm interested in booking something at the Student Center. So here are my available rooms. Just like from your computer, you can click on a room and see information about the room as well as the room images. Right, I'm going to close that, and I think I will choose this study room. Don't need any audio visual. I will skip that. Here's the question that pops up. And then I will click on submit. Takes me straight to my events screen, just like it would if I were on my desktop. All right, I'm going to turn it over to Joe.
Oh, okay.
Is that correct?
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right, I'm going
Joe's
to
next here.
stop sharing.
So Wendy's just showed you kind of what it looks like from your requester's point of view. I will also point out as well, from the phone, a requester could go in and edit their request as well if they ever needed to do that. So they can basically get to everything that they are used to doing on the computer, but they can do it on their phone as well. And so you've seen what that looks like there. Now we're going to actually switch gears. Joe is going to take over and he's going to show you what it looks like from an event planner's point of view. So most of you on the call here with us today, in Mazévo language, we call you an event planner. You're the one who's actually managing the events, maybe approving things, reviewing things, stuff like that. That's what Joe is going to do now. He's going to show you the things that you can do from that point of view. So,
okay, cool. Thanks, Brian. Thanks, Wendy. So within the phone version or display, essentially, of the Mazévo application, you do see all of your same normal menus. They're just kind of condensed a little bit. So as you're used to probably with other applications and things like that, you've got to look for these 3 lines. Those are very key to you as a person to actually see menus and so forth. But you can see here that I do have all my menus based on my security and approval. My security level that I'm at, okay? I can go to my profile and my preferences and set up my things that I want to, emails. I can clear my cache and all those things, which hopefully you guys are getting used to that a little bit. I do have my security where I can go into manage operations, or if I'm an approver, I can do approvals. We're going to focus a little bit more down here in what is it that I need to do. Most of the time, I'm going to go in and look to any requests that have come in so that they can be reviewed and approved. So typically your workflow is that you're going to use day at a glance. So that's where I'm going to start. We're going to go into the day at a glance. I have my specific building that I'm responsible for monitoring selected here. But if I have other buildings that I'm responsible for, I can make sure that I have all of those in as well. So when I click on this by changing the building, I'll get my new list of items in here. Now, we do have this demo database configured up to where there are secondary level of approvals in here. And that's why under my request menu, I'm seeing some of those things down here. Now, I'm just going to focus on the first one because Dean's going to cover some of that other. I'm going to focus on all secondary approvals have been approved. So therefore, this one is ready for me to actually take it forward to the final step. So I have the list here, as I showed you. You can see the whole list. I'm going to click on these that are in the green. I could actually collapse these other buckets. So here's my bucket or my event that's in my bucket that's ready for approval. My emulator.
just hit the button again, Joe.
Yeah, I know. My people were in the way. Our emulator is working per tab. So when Mazévo opens a new tab, I just have to make sure I click my emulator on. Okay. So in that screen, I can see all the same information that's needed for me to do the approval. I've got my buttons, which are up here at the top. I can actually see the event name. I could expand that if I needed to see, well, it's for 12 people. I can look at the club or the organization that it's a part of. I can actually even look at external charges and all on this. So I can see all of that information. If I need to change anything on the event level, I do have access to my change button. I can add a booking if I need to as an event planner, and then my refresh button. So again, these are all part of what you do on the main one, but you do still have access here. Now, also, oh yeah, look, here's this thing Dean has put in fairly recently. These are the tips for this page. Those are key things. Make sure you pay attention to some of those sometimes when you're needing a little extra help on a page. So down in the bottom, we have our same tab. So I'm going to just go across the tabs first. So here's my bookings tab. So I can see my bookings that I have down below. I have my resource tab, so I can see resources that are on there. And I can see event notes if I have any. I can keep scrolling over. I've got access to messages, approval, event questions. So I've got all of those here at my fingertips. So I can really do almost anything that I want to. If I had any invoices, I would have those there, some documents, and some emails. So you can go into any of those and you can see those things just like you can from the desktop. And when you go in to a booking, the bookings tab rather, you still have access here to all of your change options. Now, where we do limit a little bit is this pop-up menu. You can do these changes or you can add resources, but there are some other options on the full screen one, which are like your email confirmations and things like that. So this is where you have access on the phone. And it's because those other functions, they're just too detailed pages for you to get in there and do that. But I can see my icons that I have for this booking to show what services are there. I can see this one has audio, visual, and facilities as well. I can scroll down through all of them. I even have my show old bookings link up here so that I could edit something across all of them if I need to. Okay. So all of those functions are there. I'm just going to pop up what, the times change window looks like so that you can kind of see, but you have access to all those fields that you normally would. So you can really do a lot with this event request that came in as if you were on your desktop. Not a real need to have to. But again, it is a tool that is available to you when you're walking around, maybe going and looking at rooms and looking at other things to make sure they're prepared or whatever. Now, I can go ahead and approve this one, select my status that I need it to go to next, and just like in the other application, it's now going to change and move all of these bookings into that status. Get rid of our old bookings. Okay. So we've now approved our whole event. So now when I go back over to my requests, I can actually look and see that now that one is no longer in the list of requests. So my data glance refreshed request doesn't have that one in it. Okay. All right. Also, with your day request, the glance, you do have access to your settings menu as well, so that you can make changes in there for yourself or for your phone. Okay. The other item that people may want or need to do is really going to be some of the find events items. So this function here is still available. The advanced one is available here. You do get to choose your filters and things. It is all within this space. I was working on this earlier. So you can definitely pick all of the things that you are used to. So I can look for things that are this month with my filters, my display fields. I can select other fields that I need to. So it is pretty detailed with regards to the functionality here that you have. And then when I search, I am going to see that list of those events that come up. Okay. And you can see here, I've got some that are in the tentative, the yellow, and then the confirmed, which are the greens, just like you would in the other. Okay. And then I can open up any one of those. Again, my emulator, open a new tab. So I just have to quickly flip that so we can see it. And there we are back on seeing that particular event. Okay. You'll also see that those events are still looking in your fast or find fast tool. So you can put your event numbers in or see your last four. I'm sorry, it's 5 that you have there that opened up. Okay. So here was I make sure I'm that's my event. So find events. There it was. So that's there. And then in reports, we still have access to those. We can look here that we have published reports that we can execute and so forth. You can access the reports that you need to run and create the filtering and all that for. Okay. I'm going to quickly click on one of these so you can see how this executes. Going to take a stab. Let's do Dean's AV report. Okay.
Oh,
Uh-oh. What? That may not have anything in it, Dean.
we'll find out.
It'll find out. So it does give you your page that you're on for that report to run, and then it will execute. And so now then you can see that has a booking on it. We have 6 pages total. I can still toggle my menu here. This is the little menu that a lot of people don't even see on top of that, where you can print or export that data out as you like and all. Okay. I think that is covering the basis of the functions that I was covering, Brian.
All right. Thanks, Joe. So,
Okay.
as you saw from that there, I just wanted to kind of reiterate that the thinking behind using Mazévo on your phone as an event planner is it's really a tool to use when you're in a pinch and you're away from your desk and you just got to get to some information and it's just, you just don't have your computer handy to do that. It's a great way to get that information. Obviously, as you could see, especially when Joe brought up the reports right there, you're not going to want to run reports regularly on your phone because you're just going to be scrolling all over the place and whatever, but you can still do it. So you can still get to the information. And that's kind of the point I wanted to just drive home. The other thing, too, is you noticed when Joe was showing you some of the tools available to you to make changes to your events and things like that is that we don't have the full suite of tools available to you on the phone because some of those the thinking was those are pretty advanced type things that you're going to be doing as far as altering somebody's event or something like that and the idea is like, well, how often are people actually going to need to do that from the phone? And what would that experience actually be like if you were to attempt to do that? And so we were just like, you know what? Let's give people the basics there and let you get to the information that you need. And so hopefully we have covered the bases with that. But if you've been using it for a while and you're like, boy, I really get stuck when I can't do X, Y, or Z, well, let us know. I mean, there's always something we could look at, but I think in most cases we've covered the bases there. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that for everybody there. So with that said, we're going to switch roles again. Now Dean is going to take us on a little tour of the secondary approvals functions that you can get to in the mobile app. And if you're not familiar with secondary approvals and even what that term is all about, Joe mentioned it a few times. Dean, do you want to kind of set the stage for folks so you can kind of
Sure.
let them know what's going on there?
Yeah. So for the folks that don't know about secondary approvals, what you can do is configure the system. Um, and here's an example that I always use. It's like for any event over 100 people, I need campus safety to look at the event and approve it. So what would happen is the requester would put in the event and they'd say, oh, I have 100 people. It would come in, the event planner would look at it and make a determination initially of like, okay, we can do this. I'll wait for campus safety to approve it. Or no, we're not. There's no way we're going to do this. And they can just deny the event right there. If they really don't have to do anything except activate the approvals. And at that point, your campus safety people or AV or catering or whoever you set these approvals up for will get an email saying, hey, you've got something to approve. And so the actual event and bookings would stay in a request or pending status until these approvals are performed. And then you would change the status of the overall event from pending or request into confirmed. And that kind of is the life cycle of it. So it's a whole separate feature that you can put on there. And so these approvers could be all over the place, all over campus. It could be the campus safety folks. So here's, Officer Dean. Officer Dean doesn't know anything about, you've trained me to do one thing, and that's go look at my approvals and approve them or deny them. And so when I log in, my roles that I've been granted are just strictly the approval role. So when I log in, it takes me directly to this My Approval screen where I can see all of the approvals in chronological order here. And so I can click on one of these, this expense report, and see what's going on here. There's the booking dates here. I can see the resources. I can see the event questions. So this is the same thing they would see in a normal browser if they were in a desktop, but they can do this on their phone. They get the same experience. And I could come in here and say approve. And do you want to approve this? Yes, I do. Uh, Good to go. And then that takes it back, takes it off of my plate. I've got two more approvals to look at here. So it's just a really, the approvers and the requesters, their experience are very similar to what it is on a full desktop. It's just reformatted. The event planner, as Brian was mentioning, we've kind of had to take some of those advanced tools and strip them down to where they fit and actually work a little bit better on a phone. But the approvals works great. So this would be the experience of your catering approvers or your safety approvers. This is what they would get. So short and sweet. There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, Dean. If anybody's curious about this approval process and kind of how that works, we have done some Mazévo Connect webinars specifically dedicated to that process, and it kind of walks you through it from start to finish. So if you're curious about would that work for me and could I implement something like that in my operation, check out those webinars. They are on our YouTube page, or just let us know. I can probably go find it for you. So the last role that we're going to look at here today is that of what we call operations. So when I say operations, I mean your staff that is kind of keeping the events operating. So that could be your AV staff, it could be your facility staff, the folks who are doing room setups. Can even encompass catering, but any of those folks who are providing event services for what you have going on, we call them operations. And so when we designed Mazévo a few years ago, we looked at how do operations staff typically function with an event management system. And typically, they print off a report in the morning or whenever they get to work that shows them here's all the events that are happening and what needs to be set up, what equipment needs to be delivered, those kinds of things. So when we created Mazévo, we decided to rethink that a little bit and go, well, in today's age, how could we make that more of an electronic process that doesn't rely on the paper? And how could we deliver that to folks' phones? So this, what I'm about to show you here, this is probably the tool that's used the most on people's phones when they use Mazévo on their phone. If you ask them, well, what are you doing with it? It's probably the operations functions that get the most usage. So I'm going to bring up my screen and we'll just take a look at what that looks like. And I will mention, just like with the approvals, we have done some Mazévo Connect webinars specifically devoted to operations. We've even had some customers talk about how they do operations with Mazévo and all of that. So there's some helpful webinars on those if you're curious and want to learn more. So I'll bring up my screen now. All right, so I'm logged in here as somebody who is on the operations staff. And just like the menu that Dean had up there previously, my menu is also pretty simple and basic here. So it's just got the functions that I care about, and that's all I'm seeing up here. One thing too I wanted to mention is you're seeing, in this little simulator of a phone right here, you're seeing my browser, screen down here. Remember when I mentioned at the beginning of the webinar how you can put that little icon on your desktop to make a shortcut into Mazévo? If you do that, one of the advantages is this portion of the screen goes away, and it gives you more of that app type feel where, in a normal app, you're not going to see a web browser bar down there or anything. And in my little simulator, I can actually turn that off. There we go. So if I got to Mazévo by clicking on that icon on my home screen, notice that whole browser bar goes away down there, and it just gives you more real estate, which is nice when you're scrolling through events and doing stuff on there. So I just wanted to point that out. That's another advantage to kind of installing that icon on your home screen that way. So as somebody who's in operations, I've got these two functions right here. The one that's used the most is this operations view right here. We also have this review events. The thinking behind this one is I want to come and I want to see what's coming up, later today or maybe tomorrow or next week or whatever. Let's give people a way to see that so they can come in here and they can click on events and they can get to the information. But it's basically a way to just see what's coming up in a nice, user-friendly way. So not everybody uses it, but where I see it being used a lot is if you have a regular meeting with your operations staff, maybe you get together once a week and you talk about the upcoming events and what's going on. This is a great tool where people can all look at this, on their own phones or tablets or computers, whatever it is, and see what they have coming up. So that's the idea behind that. Where the real work gets done, though, is in the next option, which is the operations function right here. So what this does is this shows me a little bit more detail than that last screen. It's showing me all of the upcoming events that require setup. And so I'm able to go through and scroll through my list here and kind of see, everything that is coming up. And notice we're using, if you've used Mazévo before, you recognize these icons. We use those to kind of represent audiovisual facilities and room setup. Those are all, represented both with an icon and down here in the text. I'm also able to see right from here that little square that's right next to multipurpose room C here, where my finger is. That tells me that there is a room diagram available for this particular event, and I can get to that right from my phone. And again, that was something that's kind of painful if you're working off of paper. It's like, if we use setup diagrams, how do I deliver those and get those to folks? Well, now I can literally just click on it. Oh, sorry, that's not a very good diagram. So, but anyways, you get the point. It's like I would be able to see that right from here. I thought I had a better one up here. Should have tested that. Anyways, so yeah, that's literally it. They click on the diagram and it pulls it up on their phone. They can pinch to zoom in, all of that kind of stuff. But where the work gets done actually is if you look closely at these events, you'll notice there's some different symbols next to some of these. So room setup has a little check next to it, audio visuals, the red square, facilities, the triangle. That tells me what state these services are in at the moment. So that's another thing you can't really do with paper. I'm just going to print off the paper and it's like, show me what I need to do. Well, if I click into this budget meeting right here, I can see a lot more detail about this meeting. So I can see, exactly when it starts and where it's happening. Is there any setup on here? That kind of stuff. But then down here is where I can see some more of the details about this. So I can see it's like, oh, we need a couple of podiums in there. This one has got an AV package, which needs to be delivered and all of those items right here. So I can see all of the details right from this page. And then I have the ability with these buttons to mark them off when I've started them or completed them. So let's say I'm part of the AV team here. I can come in and just say, yeah, I completed that one. And when I do that, it puts my name next to it. Now I'm signed in as one of my fake users here, Tom Jones, so that's why that appears. But it logs when it was completed and who completed it. And so other people on the team, or if you're in the management office or the events office and you're, just trying to see what's been done today, that kind of stuff, you have access to all the same information. So that's how you can kind of see that right from here. These other icons next to it allow me to add notes to these things or deliveries. And then this one is a picture icon. So I can snap a picture with my phone. So if I need to log a photo or something along with this, I can do it. So there's some ways in here for the people who are doing the services to log information and provide feedback, that kind of thing. So those, now that I've marked it as complete, it puts the little checkbox next to the AV. And so again, if there's other team members viewing this, I can see, oh, okay, the audio visual on this one's done. I can move on to the next one and maybe I start doing that. So it's a great way to just kind of keep everybody in the loop. Also, there is a chat function with this. That's why the little chat bubbles are right here. So I can click that and then I can start a text chat kind of channel or messaging with someone else. Now, because I'm on the operations team, it's only going to give me the options to chat with somebody in the events office, other event planners, other people on the operations team. But we don't allow you to message the customer. That was by design there. Anyways, that's kind of how the chat works, and that's why it appears next to each of these events so that you can chat in the context of that event right here. Last thing I'll mention is this one also has a little green check next to it. That means a manager has come in and said, yeah, everything looks good, and they've marked it as ready. That just means it's kind of like a final step of review before the event, happens or something like that. Totally optional. Not all of our customers use that function, but I just wanted to point that out. A couple of last things I'll just mention on this. The services tab. This is another way to see your services that you need to do for the day, and it will just tell me right down here if it's completed or in progress or not started with some of these. But this is looking at it in the context of bookings. So I'm seeing all the services related to the budget meeting right underneath this. Here, I'm just seeing all the services in chronological order throughout the day. So depending on the way your team works, you're going to use one of those two tabs, and it really doesn't matter which one you use. It's just there for convenience. Finally, there's a work items option. So these are for things that are not related to a booking. So if you are assigning things for your team to do during the day that are not related to other bookings that are happening, like this one here, I've got straighten up the lobby. There's a little note on it too. If I click that, it tells me what straighten up the lobby means, empty the waste baskets and stuff like that. I can get to all of that right here. And again, I can mark it as in progress or complete if I want to let everybody know, hey, I got this kind of thing, right? Um, last thing I'll mention is there is a settings here as well. So you can really dial this in for the type of work that you're doing. The reason this is here is it allows me to filter all of those bookings out to only the ones I care about. So if I only care about the AV stuff because that's my role, that's what I do is the AV deliveries, I can come over here to service providers and I can check off the ones that I want to see. And that's going to shorten up my list depending on what I pick here. So I can do that also by status. I can do it by location. So if I only deliver services to certain buildings, I can do that as well. So that's another kind of piece there to this. Um, so I would encourage you, if you have any questions about this or you're curious about rolling it out for your organization, please do reach out to us. We'd love to talk to you about it. Also, like I mentioned, we've got some other webinars that we've done specifically on this topic where we do deep dives on how this is rolled out for folks. So, with that said, that's what I wanted to show here as far as the operations piece goes. And those were the main roles that we wanted to show you today with Mazévo. So we kind of just kept it high level for this. But if anybody has any questions at this point or wants to look specifically at something we were talking about, let us know. Now's the time to do that. So, all right. Do we have any questions in the chat that have come in? Anybody see?
Oh, yes, and they're taken care of.
Got it. Perfect. All right. Excellent. So, all right.
Somebody just
I'm curious, and if you want to speak up, you're welcome to, but has anybody on the call today rolled out any of these tools on the phone? And if so, do you have any feedback for us? How did that go? What are you doing with it? Does anybody want to share? And
I
says not yet.
share
Yeah, go ahead.
fun. So just to give you a little bit of context about how we're using it in this realm, um, I'm Matthew Hart from UT Austin. And so we have an events team composed of student staff to kind of just go around campus to see if people have like their food permits for their events, if they have like a cooking permit, et cetera, like that. And so I was literally going to have a meeting with them tomorrow just to talk about like because one of our supervisors has suggested, hey, maybe they need like a list of events, and I already run so many reports and send them to so many people. I said that just really isn't practical, especially when you can like use it in real time, right, and get the information. So I was a little bit late to the call, but I was here just in time to for you to show how to actually create like the app on the home screen, even though it's not the app or whatever. And that was like the main thing that I really wanted to target in on because I had looked online and it didn't appear that y'all had an app, but at least with the feature that allows us to just instantly press the button and then I can navigate easily on that. So I'm super excited about that because I was actually going to present to my team tomorrow. And so as long as I give them the access, they can see all the events on campus. They can then click in and look at our event notes to see what aspects of the event were approved. So I'm not actually sure if that's really what you were asking for, but I did want to say like what you actually showed at the beginning was extremely helpful, and I'm super happy about that because it'll definitely be helpful for us.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, that's great to hear, Matt. I'm glad you said that about adding the app to your home screen there. There is something too. I don't think I mentioned this when I was talking about that. The first time somebody comes into the app on their phone, so from the browser, right, and they're in there, they've logged in, it will pop up a little message. As long as they don't, swipe out of it right away, it pops up a message and says, "Hey, this works great if you add it to your phone's home screen," and it gives them the instructions to do that right there. So it will stop them the first time they do it. Now, they can't ignore that and, miss it, but yeah, that's another way you can just let them know. It should tell them. So, yeah. But awesome. All right. Well, thanks for sharing that. Anyone else? All right. Well, I'm not hearing anyone else, and it doesn't look like we have any questions at this point. So, yeah, so I would just like to thank everybody for showing up today on the webinar. We love to have a live audience for these because it's always good to hear that people are engaged and it gives us a lot of feedback too. So these are always helpful. We will be doing another one next month. The topic is still to be determined, but I will be sending out an email that will let you all know. What we're going to be talking about next month. And like I said, do check out our YouTube channel. If you just go on YouTube and type in Mazévo in there, will come up. And we have a ton of these webinars saved. We've been doing these webinars now for, I think, over 3 years at this point. So we've got quite a backlog of saved webinars. And a lot of them, like I said, are deep dives into some of these topics we touched on today. So definitely they're a great resource for you. We also have training videos up there that you can use with your staff on various topics. So a lot of good information if you haven't checked that out yet. So anyways, thank you all for your participation. I will send out a recording of this probably early next week, and we'll look forward to seeing y'all again on the next webinar. Bye.
Thanks, everyone.